Between DirecTV and Hearst TV seems to have been solved. I'm not real sure that many of you care about that, but to those of us who thought we may not get to see the Green Bay Packer game for the second week in a row, it was kind of a big deal, and they worked it out in the 11th hour, I guess. And so now Hearst TV is back on Channel 2, Channel 18 in Orlando, and CBS up in Jacksonville, as well as other markets all around the country. That seems to be resolved. So the hellish week is over for that. And I know a lot of people are saying, wow, with what happened over the weekend, you want to say that? Well, we'll get into the weekend in a moment. But for those of us who are uncomfortable with last week's problem with the TV, it's been solved. I do need to let you know that the views expressed on this show are those of the host and guest only, and in no way reflect the views of the CEP, the Power Plant Business Incubator, the City of Ocala, or Marion County, Florida. With that being said, there is no guest today. I will be the host today and only the person in studio today, but we'll be talking about the airport shooting that took place in Fort Lauderdale and the fiasco that has come to light after that shooting. But first, what happened last night? What happened while you were sleeping is brought to you by the Riley Arts Center, 21st century entertainment in a setting that keeps with the history of Ocala. The Riley Arts Center. We'll get to their calendar in a moment, but what happened over the weekend? What happened while you were sleeping? The weather in our area happened. Wow, the first real cold snap in the season. I know somebody said, well, it got close to freezing before. Well, this was 2 nights in a row where it was below freezing. Wind chill factors around the low 20s, 20, 21, 22 for our area. So the homeless shelters were all open and full this weekend because of the cold snap. It should be warming back up today. I think the high is going to be 65 if I heard my weatherman Tom Schmitz correctly from Channel 6 News down in Orlando. 65 in our area today, 64, 65, and then the trend will be to warm back up to the low 70s, high 60s later in the week. Back to the weather we all appreciate living in Florida, unlike the cold that is all over the country right now. Yesterday they played football in 1-degree weather in Green Bay, so I guess it could be worse for us. I want to give you this week coming up at the Riley Arts Center. The Riley Arts Center is partnering with us at this time. Thank you for the partnership with the Riley Arts Center. And I want to bring up the upcoming events at the Riley. We'll be doing this. It's been a new segment we do every Monday, the upcoming events at the Riley. Right now, you can find all these events, by the way, by going to RileyArtsCenter.com, clicking on the shows and events. Upcoming events at the Riley, the 26th Annual Young Artist Honors Recital. That actually was yesterday, so I got to skip over that. Dance Alive National Ballet, Fun for All. It's going to be January 21st at 3 p.m. They present an entertaining and educational family program. And then January 26th, Shut the Folk Up and Listen, featuring Keller Williams and Leo Cody. That's going to be January 26th. That's a 7:30 p.m. start. And you can all find the tickets. You can buy tickets right here at the Riley website. So that's what's coming up at the Riley. We'll give you those updates every Monday, brought to you by the Riley Arts Center. Also in the community this week, Senior Learners, Inc. will present these sessions at the University Center on the campus of the College of Central Florida. Americans of Archaic Period. That begins Tuesday, at 1:30 on Tuesday. That's the beginning of it this Tuesday. It's $15 to attend that seminar. Major Transition and Evolution Before Primates from 10 a.m. to noon Fridays. That starts January 13th, and that's $15 also. The Women's Club, the Women's Club of Ocala, will host their monthly luncheon program Tuesday at the Elks Club. Dee Collier will present a historical characterization of young Shoshone explorer Sacagawea. You can call for more information, 347-3975 or 629-7397. That community update and calendar was brought to you by the Riley Arts Center, bringing you 21st century entertainment while keeping with the historic building that was once all of Ocala. That's the Riley Arts Center. With that, I want to get into our topic today. And I don't know how to say this without seeming that I'm aggravated, angry, or pissed off. But that's exactly what I am. Another Florida gathering place was attacked over the weekend, not over the weekend, actually on Friday, by an animal who suffers, it looks like, from mental illness. Esteban Santiago, former military, U.S. military, served in Afghanistan or Iraq, I think it was. Iraq, actually, I think it was. 10-month tour while working for the National Guard of Puerto Rico. He boarded a plane in Anchorage, Alaska, checked his baggage on the plane in Anchorage, flew to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood Airport, which I've flown in and out of many times. It's the one that services it's the closest one to the Seminole Hard Rock, where they have a lot of world-class poker tournaments. So I've flown in and out of there numerous times. He goes to the baggage claim, claims his baggage, where he had checked a 9mm gun into his baggage, goes into the restroom at the airport, loads the gun, puts it in his waistband, nonchalantly leaves the restroom, walking through the crowded terminal at baggage check, and then calmly pulls the gun out of his waistband and murders 5 people and injures 6 others, and 2 are still in intensive care in critical condition in Fort Lauderdale. Now, how might this happen, you ask? Well, that's a very good question. And that's where I get a little pissed off about this. And I know some of you who are conservative are going to think, Tom, I thought you were conservative. Well, remember, this is called Common Sense with Tom Schmitz. It's about the time some of y'all got some damn common sense. This was a mental patient who a month ago went to the FBI in Anchorage, Alaska and said, hey, I'm crazy. I hear people in my head telling me they're from the U.S. intelligence agency, the CIA, and they're telling me to watch ISIS videos and do what the videos tell me to do. I'm crazy. Can I get some help? I got a gun in my car. He tells the FBI he's got a gun. The FBI goes, confiscates his gun, and puts him into a mental evaluation program for 4 days. Let's count those. 1, 2, 3, 4. 96 hours. At which time he's released from the evaluation, and then within 3 weeks, given his gun back. What? So let me get this right, because I'm not that smart. I'm just a good old boy from South Georgia. So maybe I'm missing something. But this animal, who's a nutbag, people, he's shitbag crazy, goes to the FBI, tells the FBI, I'm crazy. I'm hearing voices of U.S. intelligence agencies telling me that I need to watch ISIS videos and do what those videos tell me to do. And I know I've heard the U.S. attorney in Alaska say, well, there's federal regulations that say after a certain amount of time, if he's determined, not to be as insane as we thought he was, we can't deny him his rights as a U.S. citizen to own a handgun. We got to give him his gun back. Shut the hell up. There are 5 people dead, 6 people injured, 2 clinging to life because you didn't exercise common sense when you had a nutbag in your custody in Anchorage. Oh, by the way, a self-admitted nutbag. Now, I'm not saying that we need more regulation on guns. I'm not saying we need to go shut down airports now and make it where no guns are allowed on check-in bags and everything like that. By all means, don't think I'm teetotal like that. I'm not. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in our right to own guns as an American citizen. But there's got to be some common sense exercised here, folks. The guy went to the cops and said, hey, I'm shitbag crazy. If he says that, why would you think it would be smart to give a gun back to him? So they give him his gun back. He flies to Fort Lauderdale. And how did he pick Fort Lauderdale? By all indications from what he's told law enforcement up to this point, just random. It was warm in Fort Lauderdale. Because he's a nutbag. So Esteban Santiago comes to Fort Lauderdale, which, by the way, is in our backyard, just like the Pulse shooting was in our backyard. The Fort Lauderdale Hollywood Airport's in our backyard. There are people associated with this show that knew people personally that were at the airport during all this. That's backyard, people. We need to look at serious legislation. This is where we need to legislate. We don't need to legislate gun control. We need to legislate mental illness. And what do people say? Oh, you can't, what do you mean? You can't lock them up? I'm not saying that. But we need to look and take a very close look at the situations that are in place and the legislation that is in place to deal with a situation like this. This man went and asked for help in the end of November. He went to the FBI, that's the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and said, I'm a nutbag. I'm hearing voices. Please help me. He didn't say please help me, but that's what he said when he went to the FBI and said, hey, I'm hearing voices that are telling me to watch ISIS videos. What's the FBI need? An etch-a-sketch damn picture? Let's see what we got here. We got a guy that walks in that served in Iraq, that is militarily trained by us, that served in Iraq, that we know PTSD or things like that are prevalent. He comes in voluntarily and says, hey, I'm hearing voices. I got a gun in the car. I'm not sane. So we keep him for 4 days, 96 freaking hours. If he came in this morning, we'd release him Friday morning. We don't flag him that, hey, we might not need to let this guy fly for 3 months or so. We might need to keep an eye on this guy to see what his travel plans are. All the signs were there. I'm hearing voices. They're telling me to watch ISIS videos. And I got a gun. I don't know about you folks. If I'm the FBI, hell, if I'm standing in line at Target and somebody says, I'm hearing voices, they're telling me to watch ISIS videos, and I got a gun, and I'm here at Target to buy, whatever, I don't know, socks, shoes. But as soon as I get done from this, I may act out on what I'm doing. I may have to do something. And I'm not the FBI. Just think of those three things together, people. I'm hearing voices. They're telling me to watch ISIS videos. I got a gun. That's not profiling. That's not maybe thinking something bad could happen. That's a guy walking in going, I'm shitbag crazy, I got a gun, and I've been watching ISIS videos. How does he get his gun back? Federal legislation allowed it. Well, federal legislation, state legislation, local legislation, common sense needs to say we need to be more diligent with our mental illness people. And when this guy, he asked for help. Now, I'm not going to go as far as to say he's not to blame, because he's damn sure to blame. He was the one that walked in the airport, pulled the gun out of his waistband, and murdered people. But there seems to be a whole lot more culpability going on than just this one guy now. Now that the news came out that he literally walked into an FBI agent's office, an FBI agency in Anchorage, and said, I'm hearing voices, I got a gun, and I'm watching ISIS videos. Well, they confiscated his gun and they did order a mental health evaluation. But a month later, they gave him his weapon back. He went into police headquarters to get his gun back. It's the same gun he used to kill 5 people and wound several others at the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. He's confessed to it. There's no denying he did it. And there's video that shows he did it. And that brings me to my second point. The video, I don't know if you've seen it. It shows, it's about a 25-second clip, and it shows Santiago calmly walking into the screen, reaching into his waistband, pulling a gun out, and firing 3 or 4 times before he runs out of the screen. TMZ put it up on their website yesterday. What the hell's going on at that airport that footage is already out for TMZ to have? This is an open investigation. And now we get to see, and don't get me wrong, everybody watched it. I understand why, if you're a news agency and you have that clip, you're going to put it on the news. I get that. But who leaked it? That's an investigation that's going to happen as well. But this could happen. When you look at that video, that's the thing that just is so scary to me. When you look at this video of him calmly reaching into his waistband, pulling out a 9mm and opening fire on unsuspecting people in the Fort Lauderdale Airport, when I saw that, I immediately said, that could have been the Gainesville Airport. And I know we don't do commercial flights out of Ocala, but that could happen at the mall in Ocala. That could happen anywhere USA. Because let's be honest, while all of us love Fort Lauderdale, it's a great spot and it's a good spot to go, it's not a mecca of travel by airplane. People fly into the Miami airport, people fly into the Orlando airport. The Hollywood Fort Lauderdale airport, the reason I flew into it a lot is it was an easier airport to get in and out of because it wasn't as busy. He randomly picked this airport after he'd walked into a police station in Anchorage, Alaska and said, I'm crazy. I've been watching ISIS videos because voices tell me to, and I have a gun. I'm not saying gun control. I'm saying common sense on how we evaluate who should have guns. I'm going to work to try to get someone from the NRA here, the local chapter of the NRA, to come on and tell me exactly why they think the legislation is okay that 4 days after after a 4-day evaluation of mental health, that within 30 days somebody should have a gun returned to them, when in less than 30 days before they got their gun returned to them, their gun was confiscated because they said, I'm hearing voices that are telling me to watch ISIS videos and I have guns. When you hear it that way, it sounds kind of stupid, doesn't it? That he was able to get his gun back. And I don't mean to laugh and make light of the situation, because it's not, but I laugh because if I don't, I may throw something at these $30,000 a piece cameras that are in my studio, and then I'd have somebody with a gun probably shooting at me. But the simplicity of how he got his guns back. I'm crazy. I got guns. I'm watching ISIS videos, but now 28 days later, I'm good now. Can I have my guns back? Sure, law says I can't keep them from you. And then in a few days, he comes down to Florida and murders people. I'm not saying he's not to blame. He's definitely to blame, and will face the death penalty in Florida for this. And I'm okay with that. But there needs to be some other people that are looked at hard that could have prevented this if they'd used some common sense. Well, federal law said we couldn't. I don't give a damn about federal law. You could have found some reason. You can indict a ham sandwich. That's the rule in law. You can indict a ham sandwich. You could have found some way to keep that guy guns out of that guy's hands. when in less than 30 days before you gave him his guns back, he told you he was hearing voices and watching ISIS videos. Now, I know the response is going to be, the response is going to be reactive. You're not going to be able to carry checked guns on baggage, you know, or weapons like that on baggage, although I don't know how it got missed. You're going to get screened when you come off airplanes now. It's going to end up where you just can only ride an airplane. You're going to have to ship everything UPS or FedEx or a DHL. And it's going to have to meet you at your hotel lobby, and you're only going to be able to travel in shorts, tank top, and flip-flops. Because we're going to react. We're not going to be proactive. Proactive would have been, no, you can't have your gun back. You're a nutbag. You've said as much when you walked in and said, I'm hearing voices. Reactive is, we're going to make security at airports stiffer. We're going to make federal travel, FFA, the FFA is going to come out and make federal regulations on stiffer travel. It's going to become more of a police state at the airport. And then 4, 5, 8 years from now, somebody else is going to figure out another way to do some damage in an airport. And we're going to say, oh, we didn't think about that. Now we have to react to that. When our reaction should be, let's take a hard look at the mental health issue in this country and a hard look at legislation that dictates when and if mental health patients and can own guns, and what it is a diagnosis that makes them where they're ineligible to own guns. That's what needs to be looked at, not stiffer regulations that are already on the books for guns for normal law-abiding citizens, not look at stiffer regulations in the airports and in terminals. But we need to look at the mental illness problem in this country and how we can stop by using common sense and the legislation, by the way, to stop people who voluntarily walk into an FBI office. Say, hello, my name is Esteban Santiago. I am hearing voices in my head from the U.S. CIA telling me to watch ISIS videos. I own guns. Please help me. And what do we do as a country? What did the FBI do? What did the Anchorage, Alaska PD do? What the federal attorney up there who said, oh, federal law says we're not to blame. What did they do? They got their hands just as bloody by allowing him to have his gun back less than 30 days later so he could come to Fort Lauderdale Hollywood Airport and murder people senselessly. It's just what I think. Now, this moment in history, on this day in history, this is brought to you by KT Entertainment for all your wedding, private party, or birthday party needs. Call KT Entertainment at 352-512-2611, or you can visit them on the web at ktforfun.com. That's KT, the number 4, FUN.com. KT Entertainment for all your entertainment needs. On this day in history, in 2007, our lives changed forever. How much, you ask? No, it wasn't a terrorist attack. No, it wasn't a active shooter at an elementary school or movie theater. In 2007, Steve Jobs, the CEO of Apple, unveiled the first iPhone, forever changing the way we communicate on the planet we call Earth. For everyone behind the scenes pushing all the buttons, and for all those out there watching and listening, this has been Common Sense with Tom Schmitz. Have a safe day, everybody.